And you're good to go.
I think we're live. We're live, right?
You are?
I'm Vince Orlando.
I'm Sean Davis.
This is the human condition. We're coming at you remotely, trying to figure it out. So there may be some bumps in the road. Bear with us, but we figured it was important to come out here and talk regardless. It's good for us. People tend to like the subject matter, and we get good discussions out of it. And what better to do with your life when confined to quarantine than have great discussions. So, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
This whole quarantine thing.
I been practicing a lot of social distancing. I go to the grocery store for my dad quite a bit. And, I wash my hands a ton. And I wear masks at this grocery store. And I'm not being in groups with more than like one or two people at a time. And working from home. And honestly, I love it. I love working from home. I know a lot of people are struggling with the quarantine, but I haven't felt freer in my life.
I realized I was pretty much quarantined anyway. All I did really was my kids, work. That's pretty much it. I'm still working. We're an essential business, so it's not the same. The whole world's changed in a matter of a month, right? It's a completely different place out there, so it's a whole new landscape. But still working. Still have the kids, only now they're being homeschooled.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But for me, there wasn't too much I had to do in terms of social distancing because I was pretty socially distant. Except for the church, that sucks.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Gym, can't do that. There's some things that definitely hurt. But it's all for the greater good, I believe, and that leads into our episode, coronavirus. Where do we go from here? It's different than it was 2 weeks ago when we would have had the first episode. It's much different. A lot of the naysayers now have started to say, okay, well, maybe there's something there, right?
Yeah.
Now people I know are getting sick and, okay, this is a thing. So I think most, not all, but most have realized that regardless of where this flu came from, who knew about what, all the conspiracy theories that fly around, whose fault it is, all the finger pointing, regardless, it's here and it's changed our lives. And it's never going to be the same after this. I tried explaining that to Sophie and to Vinny too. It was her birthday the other day on Sunday. And, it didn't even feel like a birthday. Couldn't have friends. You want to have family. You can't really have family over.
Right.
So we did one of these Zoom, and it worked out pretty good. We got people from all over the country that wouldn't have been at her birthday party anyway. So still got to check in, still got to sing happy birthday. It was cool. It was just different. And it makes you wonder how long things are going to stay that way. Nobody really has an answer for it.
No.
And we'd all like to go back to normal, right? There's some people would, some people wouldn't, but whatever normal is. But we have to be mindful. I know when the news of the virus first hit, I was real arrogant in my approach to the virus, real self-centered in the way that I was planning on dealing with it and did deal with it. I thought about me. Okay, I'm healthy. I don't have any lung problems. I'm not at that age bracket. More than likely, if I catch it, I'll be fine, right? I may or may not need medical attention, but I'll be fine. I'll live. So that's how I was living my life. I was going out to the gym probably more than I should before they closed it down. And it didn't really hit me till my dad's birthday. I went by for his birthday, and my brother had opted not to go by there, which didn't make sense to me. But it did after. So, we're hanging out, and I didn't stay long, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. And so I'm leaving, and I give them both a hug. And my mom makes a comment that, yeah, she has to go to the grocery store, and I don't know what I'd do if I caught it. I have COPD, so does my dad.
Yeah.
Then it hit me. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, so this really isn't about me, really. And it's not really about each of us, the individuals, because the truth is a lot of us will catch it and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Our bodies are strong enough. We're not susceptible in the same way people that have pre-existing conditions are. So we'll probably, our body will build up an immunity to it. It'll dispel the virus, and we'll go on with our lives. But I thought about it. I'm like, if I would have walked in here carrying this, not knowing, and handed it off to my parents, who are susceptible to the worst of it, that would have been hard to live with, and it changed my entire way of thinking about this whole thing. It's we're doing this for everybody. As much as I would like things to go back to normal, and I really do care enough to sacrifice for, they estimate anywhere from 170 to 200 million people would die from this virus if we were to just let the virus run its course. Roughly 2% of the population, the global population. I don't want them dead. I care. And I do know that some of those people that would probably die would be close to me. So it's, people need to quit their complaining, like it's a thing, man. It's a thing. It's here, and let's roll with it. If not for yourself, for your grandma, your grandpa, your neighbor, for the good of humanity.
There's a lot of people that are unemployed now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of fear.
Yep.
There's a lot of fear out there.
Justifiable fear.
I don't tend to, these types of situations don't really bother me. Time when crisis occurs, tell you the truth, I probably operate better in crisis than I do on a day-to-day basis. I feel for those that have lost their jobs or got laid off, and the stimulus check isn't there, and they're worried about how to put food on the table. Just so everyone knows, you call 211, the United Way will hook you up with local resources in your area to get you food and all the things you need. I'm real fortunate. I still have a job. I'm able to work from home. It's going to play a problem still for me. And do I worry when I go to the grocery store for my dad? Sure. My dad is extremely susceptible. He's 85 years old. His health has deteriorated greatly. He's got the COPD, emphysema, it's funny because I don't know, if I brought it into the house, I don't know if I know if he died from it or not, because he's at that stage of the game. But I do, wash my hands a lot, constantly washing dishes over there, washing utensils, washing everything, and wiping everything down. I wipe everything down when I go to the grocery store. I keep my social distancing. And that's about it. And I've been working out like a motherfucker every day. Been running, doing all sorts of different lung capacity type stuff, because I think that's what's important right now. It's real easy to just lift weights, but exercising your lung capacity and getting it greater, I think, is a real huge health benefit.
Right now, yeah.
And I've been juicing,
It
you
always
know,
is.
like I've been making these beet, apple, carrot. Bought a juicer from Target, and I've just been going wild with it. And you know, that I think that helps keeping my immune system up all the time.
That helps in general, but especially right now. And maybe people will come out of this with a different perspective. Maybe it's hard to not come across as glib when we start speaking spiritual concepts about how things happen for you, not to you. When people are out there suffering, they've lost their jobs, they don't know how they're going to make their bills. I mean, it's a lot of people in the United States are on a check-to-check basis, right? So you take away a couple of those checks, sure, you can forgive, you can prevent eviction, right? So the government, you can't do that, but that's still there. So if you're check to check, and then you come out of this thing, what does that look like? It's genuinely scary. Do I believe that if humans rise to this occasion, that we're going to be a better human race because of it? Yes. I don't know that when people are when they have their backs against the wall, I don't know that it takes a unique individual to be able to see beyond that pain and suffering and rise. Like I always go back to Viktor Frankl and the concentration camps.
Yeah.
Like it's rare. It's rare. So I'm curious to see what happens on the other side, because there's another side to it. People got to get off the name calling, the finger pointing, the conspiracy theories. Look, in terms of conspiracy theories, look, the timing of this thing is pretty perfect, right? But I don't know.
Election year.
Well, election year. There were so many things that Bolton dismantling the pandemic panel. One of Trump's, and I'm not saying Trump was intelligent enough to orchestrate this by any means, because he's out there fighting it, and there's benefits for him right now.
Yeah.
And I can see his advisors trying to rope him in. Like, dude, this is good for you. But the trade war with China, like he came in swinging on that trade war with China. It pissed his base off because there were tariffs. They didn't want to spend that money. He had to pull back. It was going to affect the economy in a negative way. Any trade war with China or a superpower like that, it's going to. Yeah. You're going to have to go through this. So, now he didn't have to make the call. Now it's this Chinese virus, the Chinese flu or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's I don't know if I've done a lot of research on the coronavirus, non-biased research, and they're pretty sure it came from the boxcar bat in China. There's another source, possibly, is the pangolin, I believe it's called. It's the Chinese anteater. That's really the only two animal sources that they know of. So does China have the perfect environment for an animal to get stressed enough to be able to push this virus to the surface and dispel it and send it off to another host? Yes, it does. And that's, so if it happened that way, it happened because the environment in China sucks. So you stressed out these boxcar bats or these pangolins, and they're all, everyone's in the Wuhan market, and it's kind of like a virus. So a cold sore. So I get a cold sore, and my body, typically what happens, not typically, every time, you fall under some kind of stress and your immune system drops.
Yeah.
So all the cold sore is that virus manifesting itself outwardly and trying to dispel itself through the body. It's contagious for a few days. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with this bat. If the bat were to get stressed enough to where to where it could push the virus outwardly, could transfer it to another mammal. So it's very possible that it happened that way. Is it possible that a human manipulated it? Sure. Did a human manufacture this? No. There's a there's well over 1 million known viruses. Only 5,000 of them, 5,000 plus, have been detailed. So I mean, there's really no reason to manufacture a virus. You can go pick you got your choice of alien viruses out there if you want to infect the human race. But I don't believe that this was manufactured, but maybe it was. Who knows? All irrelevant, and not completely irrelevant because that matters. But in terms of the basic everyday average American and global citizen in different countries, what matters is that it's here, and how do we band together as a race to try to save those that are more susceptible. And that's really what it comes down to, because the real Orwellian approach would have been kind of like Thanos, is just let everyone catch it.
Yeah.
Let it run its course. Let the 200 million people go.
I think, what's that called? The herd immunity,
Is it?
where certain countries in Europe are just, they call it the herd immunity. And it's like, go on about your business like nothing even happened. And whatever happens, happens. It'll just weed out who's ever meant to be weeded out.
Yeah, and it could have very well gone that way for us. And I like to believe that the government, that they're making their choices for humanity. Really, their numbers were looked at, and the economic impact of having 200 million people disappear off the face of the planet Earth this suddenly was far worse than what we're going through right now. So it really was a numbers thing. I do believe there's humanity behind it too, but at the end of the day, would they have let it just go if the economic impact would have been lesser? Possibly. Who knows? Who knows? All I know is, I see people out there in the streets now,
Yeah.
running. They're still social distancing, but they're out there.
Everyone's running their dog.
Yeah, running the dog. They're sitting on the porch.
Yeah.
That park, there's probably always activity back there, but always activity. People are getting out. Like, you see how necessary human contact is for us. You really do start to see that, and it's not until we're in some form of crisis where that starts to manifest itself in a way that it's visible. It's crazy. 9/11 was another one of those, where you just kind of see countries come together.
Yeah.
And then it goes away.
It does.
After time, it goes away. This one in particular, I don't know how it goes away. I don't know how you stop caring because this can and probably will happen again. They're out there. The viruses are out there, and the viruses are fucking weird, man. I don't know if you've ever read about these things, but they make no sense. They're not even alive, right? There's no biomass to them. They look for a host. They go into the host. They reprogram the cell, and then they wreak havoc. That's what they do. There's no. It's not like they're feeding like a parasite.
Right.
Like, they don't need it to live. They just sit there and they wait for a host cell. They infect the host cell, and then they're off to the races. It's the strangest thing. It really is alien. But so they're out there. They're out there. They're going to continue to be out there. So do we think about our health a little bit more? Maybe. Do we think about our grandma, grandpa, mom, dad? Do we think about them a little bit more?
Yeah.
Luckily, we have technology. This is nowhere near what a quarantine would be.
Right.
People can still talk to each other. We can still do this. We still got social media. Sophie didn't get to have her friends and family at her birthday party, but she still got a birthday party. Everybody was there. You got to visually talk to people, converse. So, it's not as bad as it could be. Most definitely.
It's hard because, the numbers are declining yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's great to watch Andrew Cuomo on TV every day, but, that's New York. And like, New York has a larger population. And, if he starts yelling that he needs more ventilators on national TV, he's going to get them. He's going to get them because it's New York and New York City's there and it has a lot of power and it has a lot of superstars and stuff. But when you come to Michigan here, uh, you ain't going to get no ventilators from the feds.
No.
And, everyone here is at max capacity. You got 1,000 Beaumont workers that tested positive for the virus. You got 700 that tested positive over at Henry Ford. And, one person told me that works at Beaumont is that if you have an underlying condition and you come in with the virus, they're not really doing any life-saving measures to help you on that. So, I mean, it's definitely serious here. I mean, you can just hear it at night. Like, if you, like, I live off of Coolidge, like about a mile away from Beaumont, and you can just hear, like, the last 2 weeks, like, ambulances every night, all the time.
Here too.
One an hour.
Non-stop.
One an hour at least.
Yeah.
And that's just the world we're living in right now, And you just want to make sure that you're staying healthy as best you can. Pop your vitamins, go heavy on the vitamin C, exercise as much as you can, get that lung capacity up, and just be mindful of everyone around you and all your loved ones. It's hard. We're not a society that likes to isolate. Americans normally are a social group. They like numbers.
I mean, kind of. We've kind of disappeared into our technology in the past 20, 30 years. We've disappeared into our technology. Still social media, right? But
can't go into Starbucks.
What's that?
Can't go
now?
Yeah, you can't go in nowhere.
No. And it gets more real every time. I start to think I'm going to stop there, or I'm going to stop this place, or Sophie's birthday, for example. No, we'll invite. No, you can't. No, you can't invite people.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know what you're carrying. You don't know what they're carrying, and it's weird too. It's real weird. It's real weird for people that are dating. It's kind of, that's a whole different realm. But
14 dates.
yeah, it's something. They're already calling this generation of kids being born Generation C. And like I said, man, I tried to explain to Sophie and Vinny, nothing like this has happened in my life. I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know if we can equate it to the Great Depression, probably, to a certain extent.
We'll find out,
Well, that's the thing. That market was bullshit anyway. That thing was smoke and mirrors. It was on the verge. It just needed that camel was waiting for that straw, and it got it.
Well, everyone, all the businesses took Trump's tax cuts and pretty much bought back all their own stock and gave all the CEOs bonuses and stuff. So if I'm buying up a bunch of stock, of course the price of my stock's going to go up as it becomes more and more rare. So you drive the market astronomically high, and then you have something like this. They call it a black swan, but it was bound to happen. Everything was overvalued, And then when you had like the 10% pullback, you know, it's interesting because the stock market's gone up the last couple days. And like I sit there with my dad watching this thing and it's like, why is it going up?
I was just talking
Like,
to my buddy about
you
that
got
today.
12 million people unemployed. No one's going to restaurants. No one's doing anything. Your essential services are the only ones that are afloat. Like,
People just want to believe it's based on the stimulus. Somebody's gonna capitalize on that and
yeah, but if,
trying to jump on those. Like, get out of the market. Get out.
like I'm gonna take my someone who just got laid off isn't gonna throw $1,200 down onto some fucking $500 TV or some big purchase. They're gonna probably be rationing that check as long as they can go.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
You know,
To think that that's just for the listeners, watchers, viewers. I don't know how we're going to respond to questions. I'm not sure how it's going to work yet, but I know it's Podcast Detroit. We had to go on their link because we're doing this remotely. So we started on their Facebook. I believe they shared the link on our Facebook. So we'll figure that out later. But I think that was something from someone. Maybe not. Yeah, so what next? What next? I mean, for me, what I look at every day is that, so I don't have the excuse, I don't have enough time anymore.
yeah.
I do something, I'm still pretty heavy in the work. My business is virtually recession proof. It's a good private equity play when investors are looking to get out of the market, get some equity. We're good for that. So that type of activity is ramped up for me. But I do have a lot more time than at night. It's just empty when I don't have the kids.
Go right.
I mean, that's the thing. I can run. I can get that book done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can mastermind.
Yeah, my buddy got his book done, knocked out a book. You know, he was writing a book about him and his grandmother. Knocked it out in a week.
See, that's what it tells me that the quality of life that I had before will probably be the quality of life that I have after if I don't capitalize on this time. Because now I'm looking at it and saying, well, you were probably just making excuses.
Well, now's a good time to do inner reflection and go find a game plan of where you want to go from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is.
It is.
So I think what people are going to realize, because most people are going to survive through this. If you lose your job, you lose your house, your car, you lose all these things, you're still going to be alive and you're going to find a way through it. That's for the most part. Some people won't. And I feel horrible about that, but for the most part, we do. Humans do. Like everything that we thought was going to kill us didn't, and we're here today. We've lived through every one of the worst days that we ever thought we had, and we're still here fighting. So when it's all said and done, I hope that people realize a lot of the things they thought they needed, they didn't. And the things that we neglected, health, we very much do. And we're very interdependent on one another on this planet for our livelihood. Yeah. We can try to be individuals all we want, but it doesn't fucking work. It's a delusion. There is no individualism. It doesn't exist. And when people will get this through their head, man, I'll get into it with some of my buddies from the old neighborhood. I don't get into it too hard because I'm not going to sit here and talk about politics. And you're entitled to your own opinion, and you know what I mean. I'm not going to stomp on it, but. Right. But when they talk about who they supported politically and whatever, I can always ask a couple of key questions and I can get to that one selfish desire that made the choice for them. Really had nothing to do with anything or anybody else. So there was, typically one or two key points, and there was a selfish desire or a hatred I find with some of my friends. it was fear-based.
Yeah.
But that's individualism. That's at its worst. And and that's what that side. Well, I guess both sides are guilty of it, of pushing this individualism. It's a disease. We're not separate. We perceive ourselves to be separate, but we're on this organism, this living organism called planet Earth, in this living organism that we call the solar system, and then that's another living organism called the universe. And then if there's a God, well, we're all part of that living organism, and we all have a job to do, and it isn't self-serving. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not, because this right here, this comes out of left field because we self-serve. So say this was it wasn't a coincidence. They knew about it. They've known about it for years. They've known that was a key environment. Pandemic Council was pulled, so that's where you can wet the beak of the conspiracy theorists and say, no, if it wasn't manipulated, somebody didn't want us looking. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, it's interesting. So just say that it was a bat transfer from a bat. Again, it's humans' fault because we've been really abusive to our environment, right? So we caused it. So we can take responsibility for that. We got to look at that. How can we treat our environment better so that these types of things can't happen or are less likely to happen? But just the mindset, even my mindset when I first heard coronavirus, I'm thinking, I'll be okay. I'm not going to pass it to my kids. My kids will be fine. I couldn't for the life of me think outside of, think in terms of who might I infect, even if I'm going to be okay. But the fact that we're so far behind with the ventilators and just the virus itself, that's all individualism. There was
more conspiracy.
Possibly conspiracy, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes people just have an agenda, right? They have an agenda, and it's based on money or whatever it is. It's self-serving, that agenda, and that agenda is stronger than any pull toward humanity as a guiding force. So then things get out of control, or there's conspiracies, but I mean, there was a whole lot of selfishness that went into letting it get to the point that it's at.
Yeah, I mean, a friend of mine was like, the government had to thin out the herd somehow. This is just how they decided to do it. And he's the same, he was thinking, that, this administration is going to blame China and pretty much tell China that since you tanked our economy, you can go fuck off about us paying you our debt money. And, something will happen. He's a firm believer that there's going to be a war with China in the next few years or less.
Yeah, it's been looming.
For the simple fact that, you tanked our economy with this coronavirus, all that debt money that you bought, we're not paying shit. And it's interesting. I don't spend much time worrying about that stuff. I really don't. I just let whatever happens gonna happen.
You see them throwing around money like it's crazy. We don't have that money.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Where are you getting that money from? I mean, the Federal Reserve is the biggest Ponzi scheme on the planet. And you're just throwing that money around. And the government's not like anything else because all the government has to do, they don't have to explain themselves. No. They just drop an order. As of today, this is discontinued. What?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Yeah,
Services are no longer available.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't do shit.
Fuck you very much.
Yeah, can't do shit. You don't pay those taxes though. Don't pay
I'm gonna
those
come after
taxes. Put you in jail. Be there with Wesley
Look,
Snipes.
I have the power to cut your shit. You don't have the power to not pay me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's a bullshit government.
No taxation without representation.
Fucking A.
We've been there for the longest time. It's such a
This government serves no purpose. It doesn't do anything. It only makes things worse for the human people.
It does some things, but social programs, police,
Yeah, but like
hospitals.
you take that, and most of that shit is run by your state anyway. The feds lately, in like the last 30 years, don't do a fucking thing. Give me a stimulus check when the economy gets tanked. Or, back when the bailout was going on, they bailed out all the fucking banks, and the big three came up with this fucking thing, cash for clunkers. They give you $5,000 for any, like if you push the car up to the lot, they give you $5,000 towards any fucking new car you wanted.
I remember that shit.
And other than that, what do you do?
I mean, they are defense. That's I'd say their primary function. They are responsible for the Constitution, supposed to be. The Supreme Court.
We have the youngest government in the world. This country's only been around for like, what, 250 years?
250.
Everyone else is pretty much, had a history with their own country and their own governments, and they found out what worked and what didn't work. I mean, there's no checks and balances in this motherfucker anymore. That shit went out the motherfucking window.
Well, we're supposed to be an evolved government, and as the republic that we were established to be, I mean, if you look, they were brilliant with what they wrote. Now, have we adhered to it? Some, but it's become political fodder.
And lobbyists, special interests.
It's really gotten out of hand.
It's a money game.
It's capitalism run amok. Yeah. It's a corporatocracy now. It's not a democracy. It's not a republic. Rule of law, it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to the people in power.
Golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah. And we don't even have the gold. We print paper. We print paper money with nothing to back it.
Yeah.
So in comes coronavirus. And I'm anxious to see what's going to be exposed through this. And again, it's really hard to, it's not like my world couldn't collapse tomorrow. All of ours could, right? It's hard to speak to some people. Well, no, I haven't to the extent that you have. I could. But if I did, I'm still going to maintain my spiritual concepts. This is happening for me, not to me.
Yeah.
How do I navigate through this? Where's the lesson? That's how you get through this type of shit. It's not fault. So you can only be victimized in the moment.
Right.
And then it's a choice beyond that. So you can fall victim to, I've lost my job, government sucks, I'm only at $1,200, unemployment shit, I can't get through, all these different things. You can fall victim in that moment, but whether or not you're a victim beyond that moment, that's up to you. And it's a hard pill to swallow that you have a choice to not be a victim when that's all you feel is victimized.
Right.
And it's hard to talk to people who don't want to hear it. No, fuck the government. Well, I'm with you on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck the coronavirus. Yeah, cool. I'm with you on that too. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? All this stuff has been laid on your shoulders now. What do you do with that? And if it's gonna be poor me, and justifiably so, I get it. There's things that have happened to me. I mean, I could poor me too, but if it's gonna be poor me, and if it's gonna be finger pointing, this political faction is,
So let's say your business shut down
Mhm.
and you got no job. Is making $12 an hour over at Kroger going to be able to support you?
No, no, no. I have to regroup at that point.
Well, how do you regroup?
I don't know. That's the thing. There's no jobs out there.
There's
except
no
Kroger,
jobs.
except Kroger.
Except grocery stores and drugstores.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon's still hiring too.
And that's what I think about. It's like,
You can drive for Grubhub. You think that will pay your bills?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You can work at Kroger and do Grubhub. You think that'll pay your bills?
Not in a million years. Well, I mean, not mine, but it might pay someone's.
So 2 jobs ain't even gonna
No, can't be
stop
a
the
parent.
bleeding,
Can't be a parent. Homeschool. What? I'm going to homeschool and work Grubhub and Kroger,
Right?
just so I can have a roof over our head. I get it. I get it. Yeah, it's tough times. It's tough times. Yeah, our business could collapse. Probably not going to, but it could. Things could happen. It's such a everyday things change, like night and day change.
Yeah.
Like it's been a roller coaster. I wake up Monday, and we have this new investment coming in, and we have this line of credit because it makes sense with a business like ours. So we have this new investment. So I wake up Monday, and I'm thinking by the end of the week, all that's in. Oh, no, we got an onslaught of SBAs. We're going to push out 60 days on the close. Okay. Wednesday. This day Wednesday? No. So this was
Last
Tuesday.
week.
Yeah, Monday. It was Monday, then Tuesday. Then Tuesday, sorry guys, we're going to have to revisit this in May. We can't take on any new loans because the government has mandated that we
do the small business loan.
Okay. So then the trickle down effect back to my equity people. Oh, well, that was part of it. That's what we needed to get to the, we have a threshold of X amount of revenue for this year. That's what we needed. Now there's apprehension there, and then that changes. Last night, there's a hailstorm. All of a sudden that changes. It's everyone's scared. Everyone's scared.
Walking on eggshells.
Yeah. And you can't blame them.
It's just tense time. It's just a tense time. And I truly believe to look within, and believe that everything's going to work out for the best. If I'm putting the work in, good luck happens.
Well, and then recognizing that we don't even know what the best is. Like that's what faith is. Faith is, I would like things to try. I have goals, and I have visions that I would like to see manifest for my future. Some of that's ego driven, some of that's spirit driven. But I don't know what's going to happen. But whatever it is, I have to give over to the fact that that's for my greatest good.
Right.
That's faith. That's true faith. And that's again, a hard pill to swallow. But I exercise it. Like I said, it's with my business, it's been volatile. But that's business, right? And I have to I take risks that could damage us, but I'm not willing to do the alternative, which is fear-based. So So whenever we do something like that, I say, I don't know what's going to happen. This is the outcome I'd like, and this is what I see for us. I don't know what's going to happen. And whatever happens, it's just going to have to be what it is, you know. And I believe that, and I live that way. And
Pray for hell.
people don't like that. And
Pray for hell.
people don't like that. When you won't let them pull you into your stress or into their stress, like bill collectors. Like, so we took these bad loans, merchant capital advances. Anybody watching, don't ever take a merchant capital advance, ever. But I mean, how they're even still operational, I have no idea, but they're predatory at best. So we took them, and then this hit. They're taking a huge chunk of money out of our accounts every week, and we said, all right, you're not going to do that anymore. We're going to pay this off as, we're going to pay you, but it's going to be done in real terms, not daily draws out of our account.
Yeah.
We're done. So we were just done because that's what we had to do. So I talked to a bill collector today, and she's like, yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of you for a few weeks. I'm like, well, if you left a message, I didn't get it. I think I was calling the other phone. Okay, well, there. Because I just answered. So when are you going to bring this back to current? I don't know. It's not a priority right now. What? It's not a priority right now. Sorry. I mean, this is just, it's the way it is. These things are happening, and I have to make sure that other things are dealt with up front so that you can get your money.
Yeah.
In the long. So I'm going to make that decision. I can't make that decision. I did. So what do you want to do? And then, well, I have this program where, okay, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. I sent a letter out to all of them saying, this is what I expect. And you either do it, or, the alternative is your predatory lending practices wind up in court when courts are back in session. Yeah, like I try not to let things phase me anymore, even though it's uncomfortable. But I'm just realizing the best way to be is honest. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest through this process. I was talking to Sophie. We were taking a little walk after her birthday party. And she's like, yeah, I'm a weirdo. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, be a weirdo. Be you. I'm like, if there's anything you have a responsibility of on this planet, it's to be unapologetically you at all costs. And then let the universe reconfigure to your authenticity. But I can tell you, it's a bumpy road. It's a bumpy road. People want you to conform. They want you to, credit bureaus want you to get stressed out about your credit score. They want you to remain in prison to that. I don't give a fuck about my credit score. That's what they'll throw me. I'm like, do you think I care about my credit score? What do I use credit for? I'm like, have you looked at my report? What do I use credit for? There's like 2 things on there. Kiss my ass. I'm like, save that for somebody else. Now let's talk about facts and what I am willing to do.
Yeah.
People hate it. They hate it when you just, people hate it in real life when they want to bring you back into your past. Sorry, I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it. Not to be glib, even though I come across as glib, but it's like, look, I left that there. If you still got that with you,
yeah,
that's a virus. That's a metaphorical virus. I'm not catching that back. And hopefully I'm not catching corona either. So far, so good.
You've been eating healthy?
To a certain, I haven't been eating much. And when I do eat, it's garbage. So I'll go all day because I still go into the office, and I try to stay here as much as possible. But sometimes I can't. Just for focus, I got to get to my desk at the office and be surrounded by files and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get so caught up in what I'm doing, because like I said, when I'm not with the kids, it's work. It's work nonstop. Work, write, I'm nonstop. So I'll go to the office and I just forget to eat. And then 7-Eleven's open on the way home.
Nachos,
No,
hot dogs.
garbage, like Swedish fish. Swedish fish has been a thing, and chips, quick shit.
It's not too bad. That's your dinner.
Yeah, that's the dinner. That's the dinner.
Swedish fish and chips.
Chips, yeah. Yeah, that's what it was last night.
It's not enough calories.
No, I keep losing weight. It's not good weight either. Like I need to, I'm gonna get in with my boy Dan and Noel, Noel,
Maybe.
bodybuilder. They're doing their Zoom sessions for workouts. I need to get involved in that. I've been running at the park, but need something a little more high impact.
250 push-ups.
That's
500 jumping jacks.
That's a start.
Do it in an hour.
That'll have me sore.
Yeah, well, what we've been doing is, so my best friend, when this happened, I was at a gym and I was like, are you guys going to close down? They're like, no, we're not going to close down. It was 11 a.m. And all of a sudden, like, my boy called and he was like, dude, all the gyms are closing. What, like, go to Dick's, get a weight bench, and if they got like 45s or 55, 65, they have big dumbbells, buy those too. And so I went to Dick's, and we ended up leaving, and went to Dunham's, and Dunham's had a ton of stuff. Got the weight bench from Dick's, and then bought a bunch of stuff over at Dunham's. And then my boy put an order with Rogue in right away and got a squat rack and some mats and some bumper plates. And like, it's not the same. It's a lot harder working out. Like I was joking around in the first week. I'm like, dude, this is like working out like Rocky IV style.
Yeah.
And he started laughing. He's like, fuck yeah, it is. And so, we were I was 250 push-ups a day and 500 jumping jacks with whatever workout I'm doing. And then the second week, man, we went over to Lamphere Hill, started running up and down the hill with weighted vests on and stuff. You just got to get after it. And I have the time. There's no time, like I have no reason to say like, there's no reason for me to be healthy and fit. There's no excuse for me not to work out other than I'm sore and I need a rest day. Even that.
Honestly, there's really not.
Even on a rest day, I should be going for a run.
I need to go for a run tonight. Didn't today. Have you gotten a haircut?
No.
Me neither.
I'm growing it out.
Me neither. I'm shaggy as hell. You just gotta open her place. Gotta open her place. Gotta get that haircut in.
I'm not gonna get a cut ever again.
Fuck it. Coronavirus. What do you call those?
I was losing it there for a minute.
Were you?
So I just figure I'll grow it out. Cover up that bald spot on the crown.
Coronavirus caveman.
Fuck yeah.
Get those locks flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready for things to get.
There's nothing it's not gonna go back to normal.
There is no normal.
There is no normal.
No.
Normal's done.
But to where we can,
I
I think we'll appreciate the fact that you can go into the salon.
Yeah,
I appreciate the gym.
Just to watch a sporting event on TV, even if the stadium's closed, would be great. Just to watch something else besides bullshit TV.
Yeah.
That's the sports is really what's hard for me. Like there's nothing to watch. Tiger King.
That was.
It was all right, but it was a gimmick. It had a couple different stories that ran in that documentary, and y'all wanted,
They did a real good job at making humans out of these caricatures.
yeah.
I mean, because I was sucked in, and I still haven't finished it, so I guess I wasn't that sucked in, but I saw all I needed to see. I got it.
I watched
I
the whole
understood.
thing. I watched the whole thing.
I didn't need to know the plot or where it ended. I knew that you were sick, and this is all the result of unresolved trauma. So I immediately go into the psychological aspect of it. But when that guy said, yeah, and I drove myself off a bridge because I was gay, my father wouldn't accept me. It's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. And that's what you get. And then the other woman that was raped, and all this.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah, Carol, she's evil. I mean, she I think somebody got fed to the tigers. I don't know, but I don't know. But the tell in her eyes was just, she was like cold, real cold. But who knows? Maybe you're just.
And smiles about it too.
Yeah.
How everyone thinks I fed them to the tigers or something. It's like, you sound pretty convincing that you did.
Yeah.
Without really admitting to it.
Yeah, that's not a joke.
No.
No, so he's gone.
Yeah.
Nobody's joking about that.
And you got millions out of it.
You can't just kind of brush that off.
You got 20 million.
But yeah,
that's a good clip,
There's Tiger King. There's I really don't care. I still watch Daily Show from home.
Yeah.
Watch a little Seth Meyers.
Started watching the World War II in color. On Netflix. Yeah, it's pretty good.
There's always movies out too.
Saw Richard Jewell. Saw that movie.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I saw what was it, 1917?
Yeah, I still have to see that. No? I like the director.
I mean, they got a lot of awards, but like afterwards, like me and my dad watched it, and like I was like, didn't this movie win like Academy Awards? Dad was like, man, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, they must have not had no real competition that year, because
it's the director.
I did not. I mean, it's a nice film, but it's not. I didn't think it was worth Academy Award. Oscar, isn't that what it is?
Yeah. Well, they do 10 now. They gotta get the 10 best movies. They do. It's all politics.
We're giving it to The Gentleman.
What's that?
Oh, The Gentleman came out this year. The movie with Matthew McConaughey.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Guy Ritchie, but yeah, that was badass. That was like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Yeah. I was real happy with that one. But that's I love movies. I've spent the better part of my adult life involved in that industry, and I've been neglecting them because I don't have time. Genuinely don't, and I've gotten to catch up on a lot of movies and just sit and watch them. Yeah. I'm like, wow, I got all this time after the movie. What do I do now? But yeah, so I think we're a few minutes away. In closing, my whole thing on this is, it happened. Doesn't matter how it happened. It does, but it doesn't. Like in terms of the individual. But, and I say individual, but we're in this together.
Yeah.
We're in this together. What you do during this time has the ability to affect every living creature on this planet. And it's always been like that. There's always been the butterfly effect. What you do does something. There's causality down to subatomic particles. But now it's been made visible. So, and it's been made visible in a way to where it's fatal, to where your actions could literally kill somebody less fortunate than you. So if nothing else, I hope we come out of this a little less selfish.
Yeah.
Don't know if that'll be the case, but I know I really went that epiphany when it hit me at my mom and dad's house, and I'm just thinking, cocky as hell. I'm gonna be fine, but what about them? You know. And then I haven't been the same since that day. When I think about it, you know, I catch myself all the time. I don't have to wash my hands or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Just do it. Because why
Just
not?
do it. Why not?
What the fuck does it matter? Oh, I'm not going to do that. What the fuck do you benefit from that? You know what I mean? Like, what really do you benefit from not maintaining 6 feet? Like, there's no, why not safe and sorry? You arrogant prick. You know, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're there for a reason. No, it's a conspiracy to crash the market. It is what it is. You got anything? I think
I'm good.
All right, guys. Hope this panned out in terms of sound, visibility, questions. I hope you were able to see the live feed through Podcast Detroit. We'll work out any kinks, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're out.
All right. I'll talk with you soon, man.